Hey, what's happening, YouTube? This is GK once again, and we're coming back today sooner than expected. And the reason why we want to do that is because, there's a lot of great people out in the hobby today, regardless of what you hear about any of the stuff, any of the negative. Take all that in one ear, out the other. It doesn't really matter, because let me tell you about today. So yesterday we had put together some giveaways for friends, followers, supporters. Hey man, they contacted us. They wanted some cards or asked about individual singles or something like that. So we put together, like lots of cards, team lots, like 15, 20, 50, 100, whatever it may be. Put those together, put them in the packages, labeled them up, got them ready to go, getting ready to send them out. So on our way out the door, we go to the mailbox, check the mail, and then lo and behold, boom, here's a package that opened up. Now, typically we receive break loot on, either Wednesdays or Fridays. eBay purchases, they can come anytime, and this week we don't have any incoming. It'll be the weekend or after when some of those cards come through. So this was kind of a big surprise. And when I flipped it over and then noticed, this is a guy that we've mailed back and forth cards, several times. So big shout out to Big Grizzly Cards, man, for the random act of kindness that just dropped into the mailbox. We put out on Instagram and Twitter, send props to him. Want to spread that love across social and let Big Grizzly get credit for where credit is due, because, it's just crazy how things work. And what's crazy about it is how things work inside the hobby. So we put together some stuff to give away for people unexpectedly, and then the next day stuff shows up. So there's a lot of great things going on out there. Don't believe what you hear. I haven't seen what's in here, and I'm excited. So thanks for joining us. Let's check it out. So he's got 2 cardboard wrappers, packaged amazing. Like you got the bubble wrap. That's a standard. It should be a standard cardboard blue painter's tape. There's also a note here. I'm gonna read it and check it out. If somebody starts cutting onions or something like that nearby, then we'll deal with that as well. And it simply says, what's going on, buddy? Just some stuff I thought would look good in your collection. A little old and a little new. The 67s are in some rough shape, but I know you said you were trying to get some stuff from them. Loving the YouTube channel. Keep up the great work, and happy ripping. Big Grizzly Cards. Hey, thank you for supporting us. We don't have a big following, and that's all right. But if we can make an impact on the following we do have, then that's really what we want to do. So, Big Grizz, man, thanks for the note. We appreciate that, and we're gonna get after it here, and see what we got, man. This is amazing, And one of the things that, as we're giving away cards, there's a lot of these cards are cards that I ripped as a kid, as a young adult, a young man. I can probably tell you when, where, how, etc., what was going on when I ripped those cards. And sometimes I go to give them away, and I'm like, man, do I really want to part with this? But the point of the matter is, the thing is just sitting in my closet. It's sitting in a card box. It's always a lot better to get it out to people that will enjoy it and appreciate it more than just sitting there. So it looks like we've got some old school base cards back when, that's all you had. The typical bubblegum cards. Like the note said, that they should be some 67s. I know we had put out there on social that we were looking to build a card set of the Fearsome Foursome of the Rams in the mid 60s. Maybe this is it. Maybe those guys are in here, and if so, man, that's amazing. We'll send that off for grading right away. Wow. So there, and we talked about it a little bit, and then there's one of the guys, Dave Jones. And then there's the back. You get, here's one thing that used to always be on cards. You can't really tell, glare, focus, whatever. But it'd have a little story. It tell about the player on one side, and then have a little story or cartoon or something. This one says, Is Deacon fast? Or rub coin over a clear area below and a cartoon answer will appear. So we got a Dave Jones, got another Dave Jones, got a Skybox, Simon Fletcher. And what's cool about that, that blue tape, that blue painter's tape right up here to keep the card from sliding around. It's a classic look of excellent shipping. We got us an Upper Deck Junior Seau. Don't have the readers on, I can't tell what year. And then, oh man, here's something that's pretty cool. Fleer 1990 Barry Sanders. We have a pretty big Barry Sanders collection. Being from around the Wichita, Kansas area when he was coming up in high school, he was just a player to have. Score 1990 score, Barry Sanders, ground attack or ground force, followed by Bo Jackson, ground force, 90 score. A lot of people call that junk wax, and maybe it is. You're not gonna get a lot of money for those things or be able to sell them for a lot. If you were to sell them, there's an Eric Dickerson, and that looks like a Pro Bowl card. I don't know if that's his base. Oh wow, here's a real cool card. And what's cool about that? It looks like Topps, Michael Strahan, 1998 Michael Strahan. What's cool about this was during one of the breaks in collecting that we went through. Here's an awesome card, I believe in 1988 Warren Moon with the Houston Oilers. A lot of people just know the Tennessee Titans. They don't necessarily know the Houston Oilers, but Warren Moon, tremendous quarterback. And then one of our favorite players, one of our favorite PC players, LT, in a Pacific card, I believe from 91 Pacific, Lawrence Taylor. So man, it already looks, this is amazing. This will really help us out. The Dave Jones, that's almost an impossible card to find. It puts us one step closer to the fearsome foursome. Dave Jones was the guy that Rosie Greer got hurt, I believe, in 67, in late 66 or early 67. Rosie Greer got hurt. Dave Jones was the defensive end that came and replaced him. So you had, it started off, it was Deacon Jones, Merlin Olsen, Rosie Greer, and I believe Dave Jones. I don't even know who the hell the fearsome foursome were complete, but I know Deacon Jones, Rosie Greer, Merlin Olsen, and then the other guys, there they are. So we've got a Deacon Jones with the Chargers from 72. We've got a Merlin Olsen with the Rams from, I believe, 71, and now we got a 67 Dave Jones. So we're one card away, possibly two. And so now we go into the second stack, and there's some newer cards, which is pretty cool. Like the difference in technology and what they're doing with printing plates and how these things are produced has really made cards better than what they were in the past. The advent of insert cards and parallels and you name it, man. Cards are just a lot better nowadays, Oh wow, here's I think that's a 2018 Prism, red, white, and blue, Von Miller. Man, that's a like the barbershop card right there. That's a definite PC hit. We got a 2019 numbered Legacy red border, Von Miller. And this guy, you get those guys that chase you, or the guys that follow you around as you're collecting, and we love Von Miller, but he doesn't follow us very often. So this is a great gift right here. 207 out of 299, red border, 2019 Legacy. And then Topps Legend, a rookie card of Von Miller. You can see the number 40. Wow, that's a great card there. Oh man. Here's one of our guys right here. If I was to take this hat off right now, me and this guy might have the same hairstyle. 2018 Select Philip Lindsay. Oh my gosh! If you know about You know, if you're a Bronco fan, which I am, primarily a Bronco fan. I mean, I love football. I love the entire game, but I'm a big Bronco fan. And during the 80s, this guy, Mark Jackson, they used to call him, I believe, the Spaceman, or Vance Johnson. Vance Johnson, I believe they called him the Spaceman. He could jump out of the building. I mean, just a lot of tremendous acrobatic catches. You know, you could compare him to Lynn Swann. Receivers nowadays that you might compare him to might be maybe an Odell Beckham Jr. You know, I mean, the one-handed catch thing wasn't that big. The diva thing wasn't that big. But anybody that's out there making dramatic acrobatic catches, Vance Johnson was that guy back then. So 2019 Elements, on-card auto, amazing. You know, we've been chasing a lot of these Elements, haven't been able to get into the Broncos. You know, they're a pretty popular team. They buy up pretty quick, and then to fill it out, the great combos right there, we were just talking about them. Vance Johnson and Mark Jackson, you know, you had the Super Twins or whatever in Miami with Dan Marino, Mark Duper, and Mark Clayton. But as a Bronco fan, I really only paid attention to these guys. So, Grizz, man, hey, thank you for sending the cards, man. We appreciate it. We're humbled, almost daggum speechless. If we weren't on camera, we would be speechless. So we've covered that, and one of the other reasons why we wanted to come today was to kind of elaborate on what we talked about with the selling cards thing. So, you know, we had got quite a few questions on how do I sell cards, what's the best way to go about selling cards, what do I do, how do I do it, blah, blah, blah. And so we kind of put together some notes and then put that out on our last video. And then we did get some feedback that said, hey man, that was kind of helpful. So we want to kind of continue along those lines. We won't take up a whole lot of time, just a few quick points to kind of maybe help you get over the edge, maybe make that step into collecting, you know, going from sole collector to collector/seller, because selling the cards that you buy can be very helpful and beneficial in you leveling up your collection. You know, it's one thing to go to retail or hobby store and give them your hard-earned money, but it's going to be hard to put together a base set or hit the cards you want. Typically at a local card shop, you know, if let's say, for instance, this Vance Johnson, I wanted this Vance Johnson, you know, I might be able to buy 4 or 5 packs for what this could cost, you know. So it's real hard to kind of put together some of those sets, and you can get into breaks, that can get expensive. You can buy into Razzas, that can get expensive. Probably one of the things I would recommend is, if you're looking to make that transition from card collector to card seller, keep in mind this real estate adage, and you make your money on the buy. Right. So what that means is if we were to buy this card, and let's say hypothetically this is a $30 card, we buy this card and hopefully we could catch it at right around $15 or $20, and that would leave a pretty big margin. The difference between 15 what we bought it for and 30 what we sold it for. So that's where we make our money. One mistake that I've made in the past is, before I understood that principle, I would take a card like this and I would go to eBay and I'd look at what people were selling it for, not what it had sold for, but what it was selling for, and I'd come up with some pretty unrealistic values. So although this might have been a $30 card, I had it on market for like $45. So the first thing we want to talk about is like how to determine the worth or the value, or you know, that's one thing we want to think about. So I'm going to show you some examples of different cards, and really we can do it with the cards that Big Grizz sent us. So right here we have like an on-card autograph, you know, and that's going to have a higher value. So there's like different tiers of these cards, and for instance, this Warren Moon is a good example. Starting off, it's a base card, right? And a base card is just that initial card of the set. Not a lot of value. This would also be considered junk wax. It's kind of a term of endearment, if anything else, but this would probably be your lowest tier of cards. And what you find out, like on Facebook and sometimes eBay, sometimes Instagram, not so much on Instagram and Twitter, but eBay and Facebook, you'll see these cards like listed at overvalued price. So, the base card, and that's probably your lowest tier. The next thing you'd have would be like an insert type card, select. And that might be a base select, but I do have a different example here, like of an insert card, like this Cam Newton die cut. That's part of, in addition to the base set, they'll have these inserts, or like a parallel card, like this Von Miller, a red parallel. So that lets you know that there's different variants or versions of this card on the market. So after base, you'd be looking at parallels and inserts. Then you would find like your autograph cards. And here's a DJ chart. It's just a simple on-card rookie autograph. A lot of times they're sticker autographs, and we'll have another example of that as well. But then that would kind of be on the other tier and kind of equal with those on-card autographs, or sometimes memorabilia cards. Now you can see on this 2008 Peyton Manning, a real small swatch. Sometimes swatches are bigger, sometimes they're multicolored. The more extreme the swatch, the more value it's going to have. But this is a game used swatch, so that there's game used, player worn. There can be a different value for each. A lot of it kind of depends on the player as well. So we've covered those, and then you'll have a combination thereof, and they can be vets, or maybe like in this instance, what's called an RPA, a rookie patch auto. We've got McCole Hardman, we've got an on-card sticker auto, and then we've got two color, two napkins or two swatches. That's another level. So we're talking about different levels of what our cards could be worth, and then. Last but not least, and not that this is the perfect example, it's just an example. We have a slab Cortland Sutton. We've got a 9 on the overall quality of the card, and then we also have the autograph's been authenticated for a 10, right? So we've got a card that grades as a 9 mint, and then a 10 on the autograph on card. So this would probably be the most expensive cards of any of the cards that we've seen today. So that's going to help us determine the worth. What are each one of those levels worth? So one of the things that we like to do, and we talked about it last time, is go to eBay. Whether you're on the mobile, if you're on the mobile version, do a search, go to filter. It's on the right side. Click filter, scroll up. And pretty soon you'll find about halfway down the list of items you can filter will be sold. It'll be completed, and then underneath is sold. You click the sold, completed will pop up. It'll show you how many of these cards sold and what they sold for. If you're on the desktop or laptop version, that's all going to be on the left-hand column. So then you scroll up, go down to the left side, find sold, click sold. It'll do the same thing. It'll show, hey, here today in August of 2019, here's what a 1998 Michael Strahan tops would sell for. And then you'll know, okay, hey, now we can determine the worth or value. And let's use this as a for instance. Let's say this is a $2 card. We want to find like 3 or 4 different cards to make sure that this is a $2 card, because there can be outliers. So maybe a month ago this sold for $1.50, and then 2 weeks ago it sold for $3, and then today it sold for $1.75. That would put us right around $2. Now, what we want to also keep in mind is, do we want to ask the full $3? Maybe, but it might sit there a while. Do we want to ask the $1.75? Well, we can, and the likelihood of it moving is, of course, higher because the price is lower. But with that said, it's also going to cut into our margins. And so if we go back to what we talked about earlier, where you make your money is when you buy, right? So, you want to kind of find a happy medium. And what we like to do, and what seems to work out pretty good for us, is we like to be about 60 to 80% of that average, or that median, or that mean. So if this was a $2 card and we want to come in at about 80%, we're looking at about $1.75, $1.80. That's what we'd set our initial offering at. So Another thing we want to think about are, do we want to sell single cards, or maybe just like the lots we looked at, do we want to sell like a card lot? Like, hey, you can buy all of these cards for a certain price. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You get 9 cards, and maybe we put a price tag of like $5. So for $5, you get 9 cards, all these guys, and you write that in the listing. And then, hey, that's what you get for your $5. It's pretty simple. Another way you can do it is like you could just lay them all out on a table, snap a picture, post it to your Instagram, and then put a number to it. Hey, 9 card lot, $5 shipped. And you can get some traction and build momentum that way for sure. We've done it. We see a lot of people doing it. It seems to work pretty good. Now, we've talked about, what types of cards do you have? How do you determine the worth? Then we've talked also about how to offer them. Are they singles? Are they sets? Are we selling retail boxes? Are we selling hobby boxes? So there's different types or variants of cards that we could sell. We want to talk about the best platform. Now, we've referred to eBay several times, but eBay is not the only place you can sell. eBay is a good place for information, but it's not always the best place to sell. There's fees associated with that. You have to have an active PayPal. Really, to sell anywhere, it's in your interest to have an active PayPal, and that's a good thing for being able to buy and sell cards. Most collectors are going to have an active PayPal. Instagram is pretty good, but it's limited to your reach is limited to the number of followers you have. So if you don't have a lot of followers, trying to sell this 9 card lot might be kind of difficult, right? Twitter's pretty good. And what's good about Twitter is if you've still got those 25 followers or whatever, and those 25 followers, buy into what you're doing and they support you, you might get some retweets. So your reach can be multiplied exponentially depending on the influence that you may have with your followers. So Twitter's a pretty good thing, and it's real simple. Just, on a single card, I can take it, I can snap a picture of it with my phone, click, upload it real quick, just write in the comments, hey, or on the thread or on the post, hey, here's what kind of card it is, here's how much I want for it, here's my method of shipping. Now, as far as shipping goes, we won't get into that today because it's a pretty broad topic and there's a lot of nuances and intricacies into shipping. But the main thing is, hey, we talked about last time, I want to sell my cards. Well, now we're trying to figure out where to sell my cards and what my cards could be worth. So hopefully that's helpful. And if it is, drop us a comment, give us a like, give us a subscribe, do those things. And if it's not helpful, hey, let us know as well. We're not here to tell you how to do it. We're just here to tell you how we do it and what works best for us, because we do get a lot of feedback asking us, how does this work? How does that work? And we're more than happy to share any of that information with you. We want you to have the best and most enjoyable hobby experience you can. Life's too short to have bad days, and there's no better days than to be spreading cardboard love. So big thanks to Big Grizzly Cards, brother. We appreciate you. Thank you. We'll put something together. This random act of kindness won't go unnoticed. Believe that. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you again soon.